moving in your hands for this time?
Yeah, I mean, feels great. The way we played in the last two games, I thought we were brilliant. We were pretty, clinical in the second test match, especially. I was under a little bit of pressure to, going into the toss. Well, I thought, toss was pretty vital. So winning, the first hurdle was to win the toss and then to get a, decent score on the board, because the wicket was getting worse and worse. So once again, it was a pretty special performance by Kusal Mendis, getting us to 281, and special mention to Dilruwan after having a quiet first test. Came back really hard. He backed his potential skill, and he was one bowler who the Australians found it really hard to score off, especially on this track.
Angelo, you've got a stick over the last 8 months. How do you find the energy to keep pursuing?
Yeah, I mean, well, my team, backed me right throughout, and special thanks to my team, and also SLC for backing us right throughout, and also the selectors. They backed us. They said, I mean, yeah, we'll get a bit of stick, we'll lose a few games, but if we do our processes right, we will along the way win a few games, and to beat the number one team is very, very satisfying, and we should thank all of them, SLC, selectors, the team, and also the fans for being there with us. It's never an easy task when you lose games to keep persevering, keep continuing, but my team is, I'm very grateful to my team, because they've supported me right throughout.
That Australian team and this one to you?
Yeah, I mean, in 2011 as well, I thought the 2011 wicket was turning more than this. It was turning square. But I thought the Australians had a few experienced players, and also they had the likes of Ricky Ponting and Michael Clarke, who played spin really well. Yes, it was a tough series for us, but I think it's well, you can't really compare the two teams. I mean, it's they had a good team, but they still have a good team. I mean, they are the number one team. So, well, I thought we played better cricket than them.
Angelo, could you just describe the difference between what you felt, on the way back from England and now after having beaten talking to this personally? What was it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially after England, we were down and out, and we were struggling with our confidence, and we knew that we had to fight really hard. We had to work really hard in all three aspects of the game, and it's very pleasing to see a massive turnaround. I mean, when things go well, it all happens for the best, and I thought we fielded extremely well in the last two games. We had to be scrappy when it comes to batting. It was not easy. I mean, when you play on extreme conditions, you got to find a way to try and get runs. It was not easy. They are bowling. I mean, Mitchell Starc. You should give credit to him. The way he bowled on this flat track didn't offer any sort of help for the seamers, and the way he bowled his heart out, and credit should go to him as well.
Was there a pre-plan to attack the spinner, especially when you were batting? You were pretty much attacking the spinner, especially Lions. So was there any plan before the game?
Not really. I mean, as I said before, when you're playing on extreme conditions, you can't just block the cricket ball. I mean, you're eventually going to get out, well, either short leg or LBW. So you got to start scoring runs. You got to sweep. You got to reverse sweep, and sometimes you'll still make a mistakes, but you will find a way to score runs and upset the lengths and the lines of the bowlers.
You got Usman Khawaja leaving, the bowls in, Mitch Marsh leaving on day, LBW. These Australians immensely shocked, do you think?
Well, it's never easy when you're facing good quality spin on a turner like that. It's never easy. I mean, we have good quality spinners in Dilruwan, Sandakan and Rangan Herat. They are experienced campaigners, and they know exactly what pace to bowl and how to bowl on these types of wickets. Well, sometimes when we go to overseas conditions and foreign conditions, we struggle as well. So they've struggled in the last two games, and we are not writing off them. I mean, still we want to win 3-0, and we want to go for it in Colombo as well. I mean, we'll try our best to do that. Yes, I mean they look a bit lost when it comes to our spinners. I mean, our spinners have bowled extremely well. I mean, you can't take anything away from them. But yeah, I mean, they found it a bit hard to score off our spinners.
Right, underdog test debut. Are you a bit surprised that he's not featured in any of the test matches?
I actually didn't follow the last few games which which Australia played, but I think they one thing that they want to have is continuity, and I think this team has played the last few games, I assume, so they were looking at continuity, but I'm sure there'll be a change in the next game.
Angelo? Guys like Diego and Sandhakan performing well, and also having a guy like Jeffrey Vanderson. Do you think Sri Lanka has a good set of spinners going forward in the test, even if Angelo is like to call it a day? So.
We hope that he doesn't call it a day in the next couple of years. Yes, we have a very good spin attack, but we need the fast bowlers on track as well, because we are not going to play in Sri Lanka forever. So we are going to go to foreign conditions, and we need the fast bowlers as well. So we need to work on our fast bowling as well. Champaka is doing a pretty good job. The support staff is on the job. So hopefully we can get a good few fast bowlers who are fit and ready to go.
Andrew? You didn't seem to bowl Sandhakan much in this match. Is that because you were so far ahead of the game that you want to keep him a little bit concealed heading into the third test? Is that part of the thinking?
No, not really. Each time I wanted to bring him, either Dilruwan or Rangana got a wicket, so I couldn't change them. But yeah, I mean, Dilruwan was bowling brilliantly. I mean, he looked like taking a wicket in every single ball, so I had to just keep bowling him, and Rangana Herath on the other end keeps the pressure on the batsman all the time. So they were bowling brilliantly, and Sandhakan didn't get much of a chance to bowl on that wicket.
Do you think there will be better opposition from the this?
No, I mean, look, to be the number one, I mean, you got to play consistent cricket, whether it's at home or away. And they've played on spinning tracks. They've just been from West Indies. They played a couple of test matches there and also a one-day series. So they are used to spinning conditions. It's just that we played better cricket than them.
Last in English?
It was a wonderful gesture on your part to present Atal Percy with the autograph t-shirt by the team. Does it show that do you want to sort of set a message as to how far you respect your fans?
Of course, I mean, we always thank them for being with us. We had a really hard time in the last 8 months. As you said, we got a lot of stick, but they still kept believing in us. They kept supporting us, and we are very, very thankful and grateful to all of them. මම දැන් බොහොමත්ම සන්තෝෂයි අපි වසර 17කට පස්සේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියානු කණ්ඩායම පරාජය කිරීම පිළිබඳව අපේ කණ්ඩායම ඉතාමත් මහන්සි වුණා මේ අපේ ප්‍රෙපරේෂන් එක අපේ සූදානම හොඳින් කරගන්න මම දැන් සපෝට් ස්ටාෆ් එක අපේ තේරීම් කමිටුවට සහ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනයේ ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා අපිට ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන් හැම සහයෝගයක්ම ලබා දුන්නට ඒ වගේම කණ්ඩායමට සහයෝගය ලබා දීපු හැම දිනාටම අපි ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා අපේ ෆෑන්ස්ලා අපිත් එක්ක හිටියට දිගටම අපි මැච් පැරදුනා දැන් මාස 6ක් විතර තිස්සේ නමුත් ඔවුන් අපි හැමතිස්සෙම අපිව එන්කරේජ් කරා ධෛර්යමන්ත කරා ඉතින් අපි ඒ සියලුම දිනාට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා ඒ වගේම අපි තුන්වෙනි තරඟයට යන්නෙත් අපි තාමත් හොඳ මානසිකත්වයකින් අපේ ආරම්භක පිතිකරු යුගලය ගැන අපි කතා බහට ලක් වෙනවා අපේ තේරීම් කමිටුවත් සමග ඒ වගේම මම හිතන්නේ අපි සෑහෙන හොඳට පන්දු රැක්ක කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ වගේම පන්දුවට පහර දෙද්දිත් මේ වගේ අමාරු විකට්ස් වල මම හිතන්නේ අපි ක්‍රමයක් හොයාගත්තා කොහොමද පන්දුවට පහර දෙන්නේ කියලා. ඉතින් අපි ඒ ගැනත් මම සන්තෝෂ වෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි ඉස්සරහට යන්න අපි මේ වගේම හොඳ ක්‍රිකට් එකක් ක්‍රීඩා කරන්න කණ්ඩායමක් වශයෙන් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. රංගන හේරත් ගැන හුඟක් කතා බහට ලක් වෙනවා. නමුත් දිල්රුවන් පෙරේරා ගැන වැඩි කතා බහට ලක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් මොහු තමයි මම හිතන්නේ ඉක්මනින්ම කඩලු 50ක් ලබාගත ක්‍රීඩකයා ලංකාවේ. ඉතින් මෙවැනි ක්‍රීඩකයෙක් ගැන අපි වැඩියෙන් කතා බහ කරන්නේ මහලයා කියලා දින ඇත්ත. නමුත් සමහරලාට අර මුර්ලියයි ඉන්නකොට රංගනය වැඩි කතා බහට ලක්ුන්නේ නැහැ වගේ රංගනය ඉන්නකොට දිල්රුවන්න වැඩි කතා බහට ලක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් මෙයා අපේ සයිලන්ට් හීරෝ කෙනෙක් අපේ වැඩි කතා බහට ලක් වෙන්නේ නැති. නමුත් මොහු ගිය තරගයේදී ඒ තරම් හොඳට පන්දු වෙන්නේ. නමුත් මේ තරගයට ඉතාමත් ධෛර්යවන්තව මම හිතන්නේ අපි ඔක්කොමලා බැක් කරා යාව. එයත් දන්නවා හොඳට ක්‍රීඩා කරනවා මේ ගාලේ තනතිල්ලේ. ඉතින් ඉතාමත් මම පුහුණු වීම වලදී ඉතාමත් මහන්සි වෙනවා. මම දැක්කා පුහුණු කරුවන් එක්ක ඉතාමත්ම මහන්සි වෙලා සෑහෙන්න බෝල් කළා තමයි මේ තත්ත්වෙට මේ තරගයේදී ආවේ. ඉතින් සෑහෙන්න ඉදිරියේදී වැඩක් ගන්න පුළුවන් පුද්ගලයෙක් තමයි දිල්රුවන් කියන්නේ. ඔව් අපි හැමෝම මම හිතන්නේ මුළු ලංකාව වෙනුවෙන්ම අපේ කණ්ඩායම වෙනුවෙන්ම ඒ සියලුම දෙනාට අපි සුබපතන අපිට අපේ ලංකාවට ගෞරවයක් අරන් එන්න කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. බදකම් ඒ කැටගරි එකට වැටේ කියලා ඉතින් අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා වුන් හොඳට කරයි කියලා අපේ ලංකාවට ගෞරවයක් ලබා දෙයි කියලා.
මේ පල්ලිකැලේ මැච් එකෙන් පස්සේ ගොඩක් මම අපේ ස්පින් කෝච් යාළුවාත් එක්ක කතා කරා. මගේ වීඩියෝස් බැලුවා මම බෝල් කරලා තියෙන වේගේ පල්ලිකැලේ මැච් එකේ මට හිතුණා ටිකක් වැඩි කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි වැඩ කරා මේ මැච් එකේදී වේගය හදාගන්න. සන්තෝෂයි. මම කොහොමත් ආයේ ගාල්ලේ තරගේ මම දන්නවා මට ගාල්ලේ තනතුරු ගොඩක් කඩලු ලබාගෙන තියෙනවා. මම ඉතින් ආවා හොඳ මානසිකත්වයෙන් ආවා මේ ගාල්ලේ තනතුරේ පන්දු යවන්න. ඔබ පොඩි කාලේ හොඳට දක්ෂතා දක්වලා පන්දන්නේ හොඳට අවස්ථාවක් ලැබුණේ නැහැ. මානසික පීඩනයකින් නෑ එහෙම නෑ. තරම් අපි කණ්ඩායමේ අනුව තමයි අපි ක්‍රීඩා කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි ගොඩක් ඕවර්සීස් වල සෙල්ලම් කරේ. ඒකින්ද මට අපි දන්නවා ගොඩක් අට එක දඟ පන්දුවක් නෑ ක්‍රීඩා කරන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ අවස්ථාවක් ආවම මම දැනගන්නවා මම කොයි අවස්ථාවේද පර්ෆෝම් කරන්න ඕන කියලා. තීරණය කරන්නේ මොකද මේ තේරීම් කමිටුවත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා තමයි ඒ ගැන තීරණය කරන්නේ. නමුත් කුසල් ජනිත්ව පළවෙනි තුනේදී අපි හැමෝම මේ ඔහුව පළවෙනි තුනේ ක්‍රීඩා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Last question.
වාසනාවකට වගේ මම දැන් අපි ලංකාවේ මේ තරඟාවලිය ක්‍රීඩා කරන්නේ නැත්නම් අපි ටිකක් අපහසුතාවයකට ලක් වෙනවා. අපේ වේග පන්දු යවන්නන් එක බැලුවොත් චමීර දුෂ්මන්ත, ධම්මික ප්‍රසාද්, ශමින්ද රංග, සුරංග ලක්මාල්, නුවන් ප්‍රදීප් ඔක්කොම ඉන්ජර්ඩ් දැනට. ඉතින් දැන් අපිට ඉන්නේ විශ්ව ෆර්නෑන්ඩෝ, අසිත ෆර්නෑන්ඩෝ සහ ලහිරු කුමාර කියන අnder 19 එක්කනත් හොඳට බෝල් කරනවා. ඉතින් ඒ කට්ටිය තමයි අපිට දැනට ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ කට්ටිය ෆිට් වෙලා ආපුවම ඉදිරියේදී සිම්බාබ්වේ ටුවර් එක තියෙනවා නම් මම දැන් සවුත් ඇෆ්‍රිකා යනකොට සෑහෙන වේගපන්දු යවන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා අපිට. ඉතින් ඒ ටුවර්ස් බලලා තමයි ඉතින් අපි හුඟක් වෙලාවට අපේ ෆාස්ට් බෝලර්ස්ලත් ෆිට් නම් තමයි අපිට හුඟක්ම හොඳ. මොකද ඕන කෙනෙක් ඒක තෝරගන්න පුළුවන් ඕන අවස්ථාවකදී.
And fair enough too. It's been a tough series so far. We've been outplayed in both test matches, and yeah, the mood's not great at the moment. Bit disappointed, but yeah, look, we've still got plenty to play for in Colombo. We've got to try and prove to ourselves and the public that we can play in these conditions.
I was at UAE. I can't see any improvement in the group. Is that a fair assessment on the team?
I thought the first innings was very disappointing. I thought today we were a little bit more proactive. We saw some sweep shots, some reverse sweeps, guys using their feet, and to get around 180, I thought probably around 200 in the last innings of this game, or every innings of this match was probably around par. So we saw, a little bit of proactive thinking and innovation today to find a way. We just haven't been able to do it for long periods of time though.
And was that a result of some sort of meeting last night about how you were going to go about it?
I think some of the boys have learned a little bit from the way that the Sri Lankan batters have played. We saw a lot of sweep shots from them, reverse sweeps. So I think the guys have learned a little bit from watching them play and having their own plans and having the courage to implement them out in the middle. It's never easy when the ball's spinning and skidding and you don't know which one's which. With guys around the bat, it's difficult, but I guess you have to have the courage to find a way to do it.
Steve, you spoke a lot before the game about not getting beaten on the inside of the bat, watching the straight ball, and then yourself in the first innings, quite a few of the guys got out the same way. Where's the difficulty in knowing the theory and then putting it in place on the field?
Yeah, the guys had been working on it in the nets. It's a tough one. They've got some quality bowlers in their team that do get the ball to skid and then spin sharply as well. And I guess when the ball does spin sharply, it sort of plays on your mind that and you might just play outside of one. But we haven't been good enough at it, and we have to find ways to make sure that we are covering that ball that doesn't spin. Majority of the time, if it spins too far. We just have to, forget about the ball before, essentially, and play the ball as it comes. And if it does spin, hopefully it spins past the stumps and the outside edge.
Is that just the instinct or reflex that means you're not able to play that delivery the way you know you should? You sort of automatically do something different?
I think it is sort of instinct. I guess all the guys growing up in Australia, the majority of wickets that we play on, they're pretty true. You don't often see too many spinning past the bat, or the one that does go straight, it doesn't speed up off the wicket as such. So it's certainly a lot easier to play spin in Australia. But we have to find ways to do it differently here. I thought, as I said, the way we came out today and took the game on a little bit. A couple of guys went over the top, showed a bit of courage, got the field back, a couple of sweep shots, reverse sweeps. It sort of, I guess it unsettles the bowler a little bit, and you're scoring at the same time, which is important in these conditions. If you're sitting on the crease trying to defend, more often than not one's going to have your name on it, so you have to find a way to score at the same time as being out there.
Steve, I know you're not asleep, but is there kind of a growing case for specialisation in cricket to actually get a team of guys who are specialists at playing spin for games in these conditions, where you might have many different top orders for what you take to England or South Africa?
Yeah, I think it certainly needs to be looked at. If there are guys that can play spin well in these conditions, then it's certainly got to be a chance. Because it's been too long now. I think it's 15 or 16 games since we've won a game in the subcontinent. So whatever we're doing, it's not working. There might be need for some changes.
Last two first two matches, what more can you sort of, going the third test match, what more can you sort of do to overcome this shortcomings we have?
Yeah, I think as batters, I guess I'm assuming the wicket's going to spin again. So I think it's about implementing the plans that the guys had in place today. I think they played with some courage today. Sweeping the ball, reverse sweeping. It's coming down the wicket. It's those sort of things that enable you to score. As I said before, I think if you just sit there and try and defend, one is eventually going to have your name on it, and you're not going to get any runs at the same time. And the name of our game is to score runs, so you've got to try and do that, but do it a way where you can be successful. And I thought some of the guys' plans today were pretty good, and the way they executed them was good. It's just about doing that for longer periods of time.
Brian,
Yes, Steve, what did you think of the performance of your own spinners in this game?
Well, they didn't get many wickets, did they? I think we need to find ways to bowl differently to how we bowl our spin in Australia as well. You look at the Sri Lankan spinners, any of the subcontinent spinners, they bowl that sort of side seam on the ball where they can go up and down with their speeds and trajectory, and the ball reacts differently. One ball goes straight on and speeds up off the wicket, one ball spins and you don't know which one's which, and I don't think bowlers actually know which one's which either. So I think we get up. I guess in Australia traditionally we get taught to get over the top of the ball, and in Australia I think you need that shape to try and do the batsman in drift and shape in the air. Whereas I think it's the exact opposite playing in the subcontinent. The ones with the side seam are extremely hard to face, and our spin bowlers need to continue working on that. I think it's bowling a completely different way to the way we bowl in Australia.
Steve, in terms of the batting coach position on the Australian team, there's been we haven't had someone full-time on it since Diva left. Would you like to see someone come in who's got, I suppose, a batting in Asia kind of background that can work with you guys over a period of time?
Yeah, well, Greg Bloord's the current batting coach. He's played enough in subcontinent conditions. He's at home for the birth of his child at the moment, so I couldn't be with us. But he's our batting coach, and I'm sure he's got plenty of experience in these conditions and can certainly help us out.
Last three, Bucky, and Rick.
Steve, you talked about the importance of the third test, to strike a blow in this series. I guess the India tour in February is also important there. I mean, you need someone other than Mitchell starting to put their hand up on this tour and say, I can play on the subcontinent.
Yeah, that's right. And to be fair, I thought all of the fast bowlers did a pretty good job for us in this game. But to be fair, it shouldn't be them taking the wickets. It should be our spinners that are getting the job done. I guess for John Holland, his first test, he was obviously a little bit nervous, and you can excuse that a little bit. But yeah, the spinners have to find a way to get wickets and keep the runs dry on these surfaces. I think we've gone it over 4 and over for both test matches. So we've got to find a way for the spinners to get wickets in these conditions.
Lyon was always going to be there in your 11, but you played O'Keefe and Holland for these 2 games. Any regrets of going ahead with 2 spinners?
No, I don't think so. I think in the first 2 test matches we've seen that spins played a pretty big part, particularly on the Sri Lankan side of things with their spinners. So I think it's just about our spinners trying to find a way to bowl a bit better in these conditions. As I mentioned before, I think the shape has to change. The way the ball comes out of the hand, instead of going over the top of the ball, we've got to go round the ball. Things like that to try and deceive the batsman. It's more off the pitch than in the air in these conditions. So we have to find a way to do that a lot better.
Last one.
Stephen, despite the heavy defeats, you must be extremely pleased about how well Mitchell Stark has moved throughout the series, particularly in this test match. Yeah,
Mitchell's been outstanding. To back up yesterday after a very short break, basically bowled for 2 days, and never once did he say he was sore or tired or anything. He wanted to bowl more and more, and I think he's certainly toughened up a lot as an Australian fast bowler. He's doing a terrific job at the moment. When the ball's swinging and reverse swinging, he's incredibly hard to face, and he's continuing to improve every day, which is great signs for Australia.
Thanks, guys.